Our final reader for the night is Valur Gunnarsson. Valur, the stage is yours.
So, Miss Aaron, you write on Indeed, come listen to poetry, it even rhymes. Thank you. There's always this awkward moment when they bring that. I think it's always best to begin by apologizing for me being here. My 8th book is coming out in the autumn. It's called Berlina Bjarma. It's all fiction, creative, non-fiction. But in my younger days, I used to dabble in poetry. So I have this little thing here. It's not very useful. I can't call people on it. I can't use it to light my way. I can't even call it when I lose it. But it does contain some words. So in the 90s, I was studying history and I wanted to be a historian. But I was told there was no more history. History was over. It was the end of history. So I decided to be a rock star. But then Spotify came along and there were no more rock stars. So I decided to be a writer. But then now there's AI and I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. But at least history is back. History has returned. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen next. So this is a little bit awkward. It's a little bit like reading from your own diary from 20 years ago. But this is what I wrote 20 years ago. My career as a history student comes to an abrupt halt. I read a book that ruined my day. It was called The Story of Man. A monkey with a stick learned a new trick. I'm told that's how it began. The discovery of steel, the invention of the wheel, evolved into a tank. From the throwing of stone to a nuclear-tipped cone, he was promoted in rank. The story had no end, so I had to pretend. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. That all would be fine, we just needed more time. And well, never to read again. I really should have stopped reading in the 90s because things sort of looked better then, maybe. But if this is the album, there was actually a single. There was a Finnish poetry book of Icelandic poetry. That sounds really chipper, really, fun. Finns reciting Icelandic poetry. But they made a video to this poem called A House by the Sea. The sun never shines, it burns. The world never goes, it turns. The wind never blows, it wails. And the ship never sets sail. The stars never twinkle, they flicker. The seasons never change, they bicker. The days never end, they withdraw. There's nothing to fight for but the war. The child never smiles, it needs. The wound never heals, it bleeds. Money never stays, it flees. And no one is down by the sea. The girl never cries, she whimpers. The hand never strikes, it lingers. The man never goes, he stays. No one leaves but the waves. And then I went to Belfast to study at the Shima department at Queen's University, which it was at the time when Shima books were selling about 75% of all poetry books in Britain. So I went there and decided to study not poetry, but literature. So if I ever go back to poetry, then you know that's the end of that scene. I'm told that even to this day, I sound a little bit like a drunk Irishman when I try to speak English. Of course, no one knows what a sober Englishman, no one knows what a sober Irishman sounds like, so. There's no shame in drinking alone in a bar in Belfast. Everyone needs shelter from the rain sometimes. It's like this every January, they tell me. They said the same about September. And I mean, it's sort of cramping my style that we actually have a good day out today, but I usually tell people the weather here is like Ireland, only worse, which it usually is. There's no shame in drinking alone in a bar in Belfast, as the bartender pulls you pint after pint of perfect Guinness, without expecting so much as a tip. He'll get his reward in heaven, they say. Oh, they're better in Dublin anyway. There's no shame in drinking alone in a bar in Belfast, as the girls wriggle and the girls giggle, and I'd be in a pickle because you don't want to mess with them local boys. And a fella holds out a flat hand and punches his proving his point. And so I'm drinking alone in a bar in Belfast as the boys behind the bar smile at the girls, and the boys in front of the bar smile at the girls, and the boys in the band smile at the girls, and I dedicate their song to all those drinking alone in a bar in Belfast. I was not necessarily a happy youth. The Icelandic sailor had a dream that he was about to die, yet he did not shun the sea. He just kissed his wife goodbye. So, 20 years ago, I wrote some poetry, and I went to Washington, D.C., and I took part in this poetry competition. And I won as best newcomer. Maybe if I go again, I'll win again as best newcomer, because I haven't really written any poetry since. But the reward was 100 copies of a published book. And for the cover, they gave me a selection of these Hallmark card type covers. And so I chose the ugliest one. Is it this one? It has a sheep, and the sheep is looking at a cross and the sun. It's probably an Icelandic sheep, it's looking pretty naive. The Savior's not going to come, and the sun is not going to come either. But I felt with this cover, I had to write a poem that would go with the cover. And it's not funny. It's I really tried to be a fool for believing, which is the title of the collection. A fool for believing. I heard that they finally nailed him, that they laughed when they impaled him. But the heavens remained silent, with no sign of grieving. Does that mean all will be good? That things will be as they should? Or am I just a fool for believing?